Hello, everyone. Welcome to Punish for Protecting live broadcast today. And thank you all for joining us, whether you're watching on CPS News Network, and thank you very much for the CPS News Network platform, whether you're watching on any of the other channels or my YouTube channel, Punished No More and Free to Protect. I want to thank the audience for watching our interviews tonight. This is titled, Dear Family Court Judges, Why Are You Destroying Children? And I have a two-part story this evening. And I have a little girl who has been killed in foster care named Sarah, who you saw at the beginning of this live video. And I have the parents of this little girl and a woman that's also going to be speaking out that's been on one of our interviews before, exposing Dr. Nathanson. So I want to again thank you all for joining on the different platforms. As you know, I have been shadow banned. I have been viciously attacked on my own private pages. It is quite amazing, but we understand that this is some topic. I also have a young lady today who was abused as a child and sold into adoption, and she is going to tell her story. So this again is some story, and that we are going to be telling today. I'm going to start out right now with one of our special guests today, with regards to her story. Her name is Annette Roch. I hope I'm saying that correctly, and she'll correct me. And I'm going to go ahead and bring her out. She is coming out anonymously, anonymously to our stream today. So here she comes. Hopefully, I've got this right. Okay, I do believe she's on. Annette, are you here? Says she's on. Okay, Annette, I'm going to have you go out and come back in because something happened. I don't know what. I'm going to try to bring you back in and see what happened there. Oh, they love to mess with me. They love to mess with me. It's so obvious. I mean, it clearly says that you are on. Clearly says that you are on and you are not here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my other guest. In the meantime, I'm not quite sure why this is happening. I'm going to bring on Sunny, who's been on before with the exposing of Dr. Nathanson in Erie County, New York, and Albert and Cheryl, the parents of little Sarah, who we just saw initially on the screen. So I'm going to bring them out and see what's happening, and hopefully this will fix itself. I do need you guys to be very diligent and watch your mute and unmute sections, please, so we don't have backfeed. Oh, now we have everybody on the screen. Okay, hold on. Wow.
Are you on mute?
Okay. Okay, I think I've taken care of that. So now everyone's out on the screen, but that's okay. So we're going to do this interview today, and hopefully we're going to get through this, everyone. I want to welcome all my guests. Albert, is Cheryl with you? I was trying to ask you before in the back studio. I don't know if you could hear me. Oh, Albert needs to unmute. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Albert, you must have, are you watching it as well as, if you're watching it, you need to shut it off. If you're watching it on a device, you need to shut it off because it's making horrible backfeed. I've had to mute him right now. Sunny, are you aware? Is Cheryl with him? I've asked the question several times and I don't have an answer. I don't know if he hears me.
I'm here with Albert and Cheryl, yes.
Oh, that's great. So here's what we need to do. If everybody can just get in one window with me, that would be great. Because I think that's why we're having such horrible backfeed. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to put you guys back in the back office since I have Annette on. I'm going to start with her, and then we're going to work our way over to you guys, okay? I'm going to put you back in the back office. Okay, great. So I'm going to start with my guest, Annette. Annette, I'm going to have you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit of your backstory and what has occurred. Annette was originally a child that was adopted, and she's going to talk about the abuse that she endured. And she's a very outspoken and powerful advocate today. So, Annette, if you could go ahead, I just want to make sure your sound is clear. Annette, you need to unmute yourself. That's why we can't hear you. So, Annette, can you unmute yourself, please? Okay, we have no sound coming from Annette. I don't know why. It says she's unmuted, but there's no sound coming from her. So hopefully, Annette, I'm not sure if you can just check your sound, and we're going to go ahead and go back to the original interview in the meantime. Okay, so right now I'm bringing back out Sunny. Apparently everybody's together on hi there. So you guys can all be in one, if you guys can all be kind of in one situation and kind of turn the camera to them or however this can work out. Sunny, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and let's talk about what's happening. I have several pictures. I have a lot of information here that we're going to be able to display for the audience to see. So if you don't mind, go ahead and kind of lay a little foundation for us. And if we can also have, Albert and Cheryl just talk about this. Unmute yourself.
Yep. Hi. Just so you know, Francesca, Cheryl doesn't want to participate in the podcast tonight, and she does not want photos of her children shared. So we need to respect her wishes in that light. Albert, however, he does want to participate, so I want to support him in his wishes. And they're a very nice family. South Buffalo, New York, and they had their children taken away by CPS for allegations of a messy house and limited parenting skills.
And I do have, I did not take any of the pictures of the children, just so that you're aware. It's funny that you're saying that because I actually was sent a bunch of pictures tonight and I chose not to. I do have the pictures of the house though. So if Albert wants to kind of get in the screen with you, I can interview both of you and not Cheryl. However, why don't we show some of these photographs of the messy house? We're going to show the messy house now. This is the messy house, everyone. So if you want to describe each room, that would be great.
Okay, so you go ahead, Albert. You can describe the rooms.
The rooms are very clean. They're ready for the kids.
What is this room here?
Right.
That's the baby's room. That's the baby's crib.
That's the baby's crib. And
Yeah.
that baby is how old is that baby?
5 months old now.
5 months. Okay. And then what is this? Is this part of the same room or is this another child's room? Part of the same room. Okay. What about this right here? Oh, here it comes. It's going a little slow tonight.
What room is that?
That's part of our living room. It's very clean.
That's part of your living room. Okay.
Yes.
Let me move. Very, very, very clean. Okay. Here we got, what about this? Coming more.
That's a dining room table with me and Cheryl sitting together.
Dining room table. Yeah, everything clean again, clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
And let's see, is this the same picture here, or this might be the same picture coming up? Okay, now we have, this looks like yeah, we had that one already. This looks like a bathroom, looks very clean.
Yeah.
Right? And everything looks actually very clean. Here we have a child's bedroom.
Yeah,
Very
that's
neat,
very
clean, and
clean.
organized. Right? Yep. And then here we have the bathroom again from a different angle. Everything is very clean. Okay,
Absolutely.
so let's talk about. I have several certificates and so on and so forth. But right now, we did show the picture of Sarah, though. That is the one photograph that we have shown. That's actually the cover of our show today. Your daughter Sarah. And that is what we really want to talk about. We want to talk about what happened. We also exposed Dr. Nathanson. There are droves of people. I only interviewed, I think, maybe 6 or 7 of Dr. Nathanson victims, but there are droves of victims coming out with this Dr. Nathanson. That's a part of your case. So why don't we touch on that a little bit? And Sunny, maybe you can help along with that particular what's going on.
Sure. Yeah. So my own personal case, Dr. Nathanson called CPS and the police and requested, is the word, that neither agency investigate the children's allegations of sex abuse. Unfortunately,
just to let you know, they are messing with your Wi-Fi. I'm not even hearing a full word. I don't know if you have to move it or you can take a look at it.
Can you turn this off?
Yeah.
Thanks. I think Albert left his computer on.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better? Off.
Oh.
Yeah. Is that better, Fran?
Yes, it's better. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I don't know if you caught what I was saying, but my personal case, Dr. Nathanson called the police and CPS and requested that they do not investigate my children's disclosures of sex abuse. And my children went to the custody of the person that they alleged sex abuse from. Another case that we did with Dr. Nathanson, he opined that a mother was imminent danger because during the difficult divorce proceedings, she cried in front of her children. And Dr. Nathanson said that that's imminent danger, but yet he made no mention of the fact that when the child went to the father's house, the child was in regular contact with the girlfriend's father, who is a registered violent sex offender. Another case that we reviewed, a woman was grabbed at the age of 16 by a pedophile. And when she had her children, the pedophile beat her up, and Niagara County CPS blamed her for the domestic violence her children witnessed and gave custody to the pedophile upon Dr. Nathanson's omitting from his report that this man is a pedophile. This mother now has custody of her children, and they're trying to recover from all the damage of the years that this caused, because the only way she could see her kids was to move back in with the pedophile who had custody. He's now facing jail time for child endangerment and drug overdosing. Another case that we did, similar to Albert and Cheryl's, is that there's a disregard for disability rights. Fran, you know a lot more about this than me since you're a disability advocate. Instead of trying to work with these families, he's advocating that they're imminent danger and just taking the kids. As you can see, Albert's house is very clean and tidy. The children were moved because of messy house. This house has been in pristine condition since the day they cleaned it up over a month ago and been maintained. It was simple. To remedy the situation took little to no effort, but instead they took the children from Albert and his girlfriend, and there were 4 children and 1 died in foster care.
And that's what the interview today is about. This is about little Sarah. Obviously, it's about all the children that this family has, and the house wasn't in such disarray. It was actually just messy. It wasn't a dirty home because the mother just had recently had a baby and so on and so forth, and normal things, normal family things. And if anybody's children get taken because your house is a little a mess, that is a scary time in our country. But this little girl right here, Albert and Cheryl's daughter, I'm going to put her back on the screen, little Sarah. Let's talk about this. I want to hear about Dad's, and then I'm going to be showing a lot of the certificates, but I want to hear about Dad's. Dad, you were just begging them to get her out of there, and
Yes, I
you had
was.
such concerns. What happened? Tell us what happened.
Well, I saw pictures from the realty of the house before it was sold to the Coffees, and I knew exactly that the rooms were small by viewing the pictures, and I knew that they were in danger. Also, I contacted Tim Willard with the town of Hamburg code enforcement, and he said there was an in-ground pool on the property, which I didn't know that they took it out and they put it above ground. So I assumed she went in an in-ground pool. So there was no permit for that above ground pool whatsoever, and that's highly illegal.
Highly illegal and highly unsafe. There was a drowning of a child back in, I think it was 20. I want to say 12ish, maybe 2013, up a little north of Saugerties, which is lower than you guys, where a similar situation happened in a foster care. So you're begging for help. Nathanson is just describing you as delusional. And obviously none of that is true. You guys own your own home. You own this home.
Yes, we do.
You've been doing phenomenal things trying to work to take care of this whole situation, trying to take care of the situation, and I do appreciate everybody's comments and your good wishes to this family. That they need all the encouragement and prayers that they can get, because this has been just tremendous. But your little girl did end up going in, drowning in the pool, and they still have not given you back your other children, even though they were negligent. They're the ones that are negligent.
Yeah, Donna Rakowski was negligent. She filed a TPR based on us complaining about the Coffees, saying we're mentally ill, and then Nathanson agreed with it. That's the God's honest truth.
Right. And so it's Dr. Nathanson, which actually, if I can find the one, obviously we had a whole bunch of them on Dr. Nathanson. This is, like where he was calling you delusional for your concerns that your child wasn't safe, et cetera, et cetera. And meanwhile, look at the outcome. I mean, the outcome was actually absolutely horrible. You and your wife, you and the children's mother both. And also, this is the judge, right? This is the judge that's doing this right now. I see here on the screen. This is the judge that actually has made the court orders to keep things going, basically. Is that right?
Yes, Margaret Caesar, yes.
Margaret Caesar. So also you guys have jumped through, I see here, I'm going to show these on the screen. Maybe Sunny can, or you can go through these one by one with me if you guys don't mind. I'm going to mute myself, but I'm going to show on the screen. I'm only going to show some, but there are like countless, certificates that you guys have gone through, all kinds of courses. So let's show these on the screen, and maybe you can take. This looks like a letter, maybe. What is it?
Yes, that's a demand letter for the return of Elizabeth. That's in foster care that Child and Family Services failed to send us. So now Frank took it into his own hands to do a demand.
Okay, that's what that. Now we have some certificates here. Can you explain each one as I screen share?
Oh, that's Epic parenting class we took online for babies.
That certificate is for Cheryl, correct?
Yes.
She successfully completed that one. The next one,
Yes.
What's this? What is this right here?
That's from Big Tree Pediatrics, saying that there's no concerns for Pete's well-being, and pretty much saying that they had no business taking our son because there was no reason to, because he was always healthy and always thriving when he was with us.
Okay, so the doctor had no concerns. The baby's regular pediatrician. Here's another one. What's this right here?
Oh, that's my certificate from Epic.
Okay, so that's your successful completion from Epic. Now, what's this one?
Oh, that's Incredible Years Parenting Program. That's for 2 years and up for the course we took.
And so I have like one each for each of you that you successfully completed these. Do you know how many hours these were? Does it say it, or how long?
It was a 12-week course.
This one was a 12-week course. Wow. And wow. And Epic was how long? How long was Epic?
How long was Epic, baby? 12 weeks? I think it was like 12 weeks too, I think.
So Epic was another 12-week. Now we have more. Yeah. Here's more. What are these?
Oh, that's anger management from a group called Buffalo Nugs.
Okay, so you both took that, and and you both successfully completed. How long was that?
That was also 12 weeks. And those are people that deal with gun violence and that in the city and troubled people.
That was also 12 weeks. Wow. I mean, so you've taken all these courses. This is just some. I mean, I can't put everything up. And America can see the house. Okay, that's the house. Are you sitting in the house right now, or are you over at Sunny's? Are you at the house right now?
I'm sitting in my house right now.
You're at your house right now. I don't think Sunny would be sitting there if it was not clean.
It's very clean. And your statements were correct. When before they even cleaned it up, it was clutter but clean. Now it's spotless and clutter free. In fact, I just want to say too, there's a lot of criticisms about learning disability that Albert and Cheryl face. And one of the conditions of their house that needed to be remedied was they needed toilets in their bathroom, and Albert installed them himself. So he's a homeowner. He's paying for his own private attorney. He's paying for his own expert witness. There might be a learning disability, but it's not, I don't think, to a degree that renders them unable to parent their children. And certainly, I feel that there is a quick to judge taking of their children instead of trying to remedy the concerns in the home. Because like I said, they're responding very well to a clean house, maintaining it. And it took little effort. So I think the remedy for this family would be to have their children and have supportive services.
Well, and that's the sad thing about it, is that like this should be terrifyingly scary for all families if this is something that they would take your children on. And there's nothing else that they are that what I've read that they've taken the children on, and it's absolutely sick and it's awful. And I mean, I talk about this all the time. The damages to the children. I need you guys to mute at all times. You have to be very, 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 very focused on that, please. Okay, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, but they get bad feed, and then they can't hear us, and then so the damages to the children, and obviously you had the worst damage you can possibly do with Sarah. That's the worst damage. They should be on their knees begging this family for forgiveness and just returning these children and jumping through hoops. They should be, because this is absolutely sick. And my heart breaks for both of you that you have to even endure the mourning of your child and still continue to mourn the other children that are here and fight for them. To me, this is why we fight for families all over this country, because this should never happen. This should never happen. How can you even compare a messy house with what they've done to your child? How can you even compare that? What do you want to say about that, Albert?
We're suffering too. And you got Dr. Nathanson doing his updated evaluation after Sarah's death to cover the county, again saying nothing has changed with us, that we're mentally ill and all this, because he's just abusing his authority. But however, we paid for a private evaluation through Dr. Warren Keller, and he says that everything that Nathanson wrote is wrong. And also Warren Keller uses a service called Q-Links, where you do all the testing online, and then the results are mailed to Warren Keller, so they can't be tampered with. So there's a big inconsistency in David Nathanson's testing compared to Warren Keller's testing, because he said that we're normal or above the people of our age in education for neurological and everything else.
Well, and this is just it. I'm a national expert, Americans with Disability Act advocate, working with families who become disabled through the family court system. That's my primary subject matter, is that these families become disabled through the family court system. Their children become disabled through the ripping of being torn from their primary attachment figures and loving family members. Okay. Now, in your particular case, and in a lot of cases, your you both have a disability each, but these are not, and I want to repeat this, these are not the type of disability that warrants taking children. As a matter of fact, you are federally protected qualified class members, and they did not have the right to do this. They're uneducated. We're fighting all the way up the food chain without giving too much of the information that we're giving, what we're doing right now. Some of you do know, but we're fighting because I don't understand why the unified court system says that they follow the ADA, because they do not. We've had it expanded to some point, but they're still not following it. Okay.
Yeah.
And your Americans with disability rights are constantly violated, and that of your children. And I'm just watching for the mute, which I see is not on. I have to do it again, because every time I talk or you guys talk, if we don't unmute and mute, if we don't do that, what ends up happening is we don't hear it. And I'm not trying to but we don't hear it, but the audience just hears a horrible sound. So I want everybody that's watching to just be really clearly informed about this, because this is really important. And this is why we're fighting so hard to I want the court system completely down. I feel that it is one of the most diabolical and evil places on earth. I know it is. It leads to severe child trafficking, and to which I'm going to be showing some stuff more and more as we proceed forward in the next few weeks. You're going to see some things, and you're going to see why my team intercepts what happens at the family court level, so that it doesn't end into drug cartel, sex trafficking, child cartel, child sex trafficking. That's what this is. Thank you so much for saying that about sound. That's what this is. Okay. That's why they do what they do. And they attack vulnerable families. Now, don't get me wrong, they attack poor families and so on and so forth, but they do attack wealthy families too. We have a lot of wealthy families. A lot of times what happens is, big, beautiful homes in an area where I live, families get divorced, and you think that you're like above it all and nothing's going to happen to you. They get a divorce and it all starts. The whole cycle starts, and they start trafficking your children. This is a form of trafficking, and they do not care about your children. I tell people this all the time. They do not care about you, and they do not care about your children. It is a lie. It is a guise. They do not care. It is a demonic system. It is not a godly system. It is an evil system, and it is put here. It's very sophisticated, and it's very evil, and we are fighting like crazy to get this to stop. Go ahead, Sonny.
Yeah, they do target certain people, certain families and demographics, but yeah, I can attest to the fact that I've spent well over $250,000 trying to protect my children. So it is all socioeconomic statuses. My ex spouse is a former attorney for Child Protective Services, so I feel that is why I was targeted.
Oh, absolutely. You have some story, Sonny. You have some story, and you can watch Sonny's story, and Albert and Cheryl's and Jody Gracer's, and we had several other victims in one of the stories. If you want to watch the exposing Dr. Nathanson of Erie County, and I want to remind everybody, guys, listen, we're not just doing this for New York, okay? But I just have a very primary focus on New York, because if we can change it here, we can change it anywhere. Okay, that's kind of how it is, and we're able to expose these people. I did just recently do a court observe for Jody Gracer, and just to let you guys know, under the court observe for Jody Gracer, one of the people there, Vera Vancouver, and you can look at her whole entire case. Which, matter of fact, on Tuesday I will be doing the Jody Gracer and Landon story. It's called The Eeriness of Erie County, New York, and definitely you want to watch that. I was livid. I mean, first of all, she was smirking away like this was funny when this child is being abused constantly. He's being abused and moved constantly, and I am livid about it. I can't even begin to tell you how pissed off I am about this. All of this. All of this. And it is very hard to deal with because I do this 24 hours a day. I do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I do this. This is what I do. I expose stories. I get myself right involved in these stories. I'm an advocate, so what I have to do, I'm not a bar member, so I can't talk in the court, so I have to find ways to do things. I do talk in the courts. I apply everything that I can possibly think of to save these children, because I'm telling you right now, we have to intercept it here to stop it, because it is child trafficking. It's horrible. And the Jody Gracer story, though, as I was court observing for Jody, this Vera Vankova, she was like, admitting that the child needs to go back to mom. And it was the first time we've got that success. And I do believe it's because we filed we filed a notice of liability, affidavit of harm, civil complaint against her. And under this complaint, her name, not just her, but we've named everyone, the district attorneys, we named the judge, that's Judge Lavallo, we named every person, okay, for their damages to Jody and Landon. And how can it be that all these cases, just think about this, guys, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. Yes, you're right, Glenn, you are right. He said, when Glenn said, we are all targeted, and it's horrific. It's horrific. This is a moneymaker. This is a moneymaker. Okay, this is true. And this is wrong. And we are stopping it, and we will stop it. But this Vera Vankova, like I was like, telling the attorney, I said, they're willing to send Landon back home now. He's been moved 1,000 times. It's disgusting, and he's been abused in group homes and so on, and he's acting out. And I said, just get him home then. At least get the visits home, to start merging this child back. And then she started arguing a point and getting defensive and saying, now, why are you going to send the child back home if you're going to be afraid to go to the mother's house? This mother doesn't attack them. I know Jody over 2 years now. This mother doesn't attack them, but they want to put you in this kind of a light that you are what you're not, that you are what you're not. And Jody, yes, you're correct. We named 17 people. Okay, let's see if this will show on my screen. It's giving me a hard time today, this whole system. It's giving me a hard time. But we named 17 people, and we're doing this all over the country. We're doing this all over the country. It has to be done. We have to say no to what's happening. We have to stop them from what's happening. We cannot continue to live like this. Nobody's life is safe with this system. Nobody's life is safe. Sony?
Yeah, I'm a physician assistant, and I think that Jody's mother is a nurse, and we have stated that we would be supportive and give our services to Jody too, to transition the children into the house, and still we haven't heard anything.
To transition, you mean to transition Landon back into the house? It's one child. You mean one child?
Yeah, sorry, her one child. Yes.
Yeah. Just to make it clear, just for the audience's sake. Yeah, I know, and I think she has a nurse. She has so many people that are supporting her. Jody has so many people, professional experts that are professionals with good integrity that are supporting her in her case, as we are with Albert and Cheryl and so many victims that are supporting these families, because what's happening is so wrong. So wrong. And then Jody's just saying, no, my friend Lori Murray is the RN, not her mother Lori. I know their names are so close, and I do that too, Jody. That's right. And the Lori is an RN as well. And you're a physician's assistant. I mean, we have to have therapists look at this case. They're reputable ones with clean ethical backgrounds, that not people that are being like exposed like Dr. Nathanson. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. And that's what I was going to say. Vera Vankova, she used his diagnosis against Jody. And I'm just like going, honey, you better watch my live video on Dr. Nathanson, and you better stop. You literally better stop, because you're violating her rights. You know that with every violation against the Americans with Disability Act, the fine is $75,000. And they go upwards of $150,000 per ADA violation. Vera Vankova, do you want to pay that? Do you want to pay that? Because when these people are diagnosing and falsely diagnosing people, that's not their right. That's not their right. They cannot do that. Okay. They cannot cross lanes like that. And you cannot diagnose a person crazy, untreated mental illness. I mean, I don't need to tell you, Sonny, they cannot. First of all, that's not their legal right to diagnose these families. And you can't take children you have to have the type of a diagnosis and prove it first that they're a danger to their children. And psychological injuries are not dangers to your children. Okay, that's despicable. And they're all, each of them are federally protected class members. Down here, you can see right here, it's Susan Cobb. I will be interviewing Susan. Susan and I are working on a live story that we're going to be doing very soon. Susan is a wonderful human being. She's an activist for way many years. I've learned so much from her. Met her at many events. And I want to say, Susan and I are preparing to show you, it's going to be a very sad and probably very traumatic story that we're going to be doing, but we're going to be showing you the amount of children that have been killed in foster care. And I know that it's not going to be something easy for people to watch, but I'm going to ask you guys to please spread the word on this one, because we need to get the word out of what's happening to save, so this doesn't keep happening. And Susan said the state cannot admit any responsibility because they have a team of top lawyers advising them what to say in order to protect the state's liability. And she is 100% right. Here's one from Gladys. They also had my 14-year-old give birth to a child. Listen to this story. A 14-year-old give birth to a child and are keeping my child and her child with two girls. I mean, this is sick. And I'm sorry, Gladys. I'm sorry. Maybe I can take your story one day. Go ahead, Sonny.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, Sonny?
So that's one of the things too that happened in Albert's case is a parenting skills assessment was ordered. Now, if I were told I'm going to get a parenting skills assessment, I wouldn't think that I would receive a psychological diagnosis from a skills assessment. So parents are walking into what they think is going to be a skills assessment and walking out with brand new psychological diagnoses that they never had before. And I have a problem with that as a physician assistant myself, because usually to diagnose somebody with a mental health problem, there has to be a lengthy history of problems and things in diagnoses and things that treatment sought and records reviewed. But he'll just pop on a diagnosis like delusional disorder, even though there's no history of delusions. There's no history of dysfunction from delusions. You know, as you could see with Albert's case, when Albert complained of his children being unsafe in the foster situation, he got attacked with the delusional disorder, the paranoid disorder. But his concerns are clearly self-evident.
Yeah.
So I really have a problem with these, what I'm going to say is just a pop-on diagnosis that wasn't even invited because all they were attending for was a skills assessment.
It's awful, and thank you for that so much, because it's nice to have somebody on here that is a professional and that understands that this is wrong, and what has happened. And again, here's the thing, I know, Cheryl doesn't want to come on right now, and but Cheryl and Albert, my heart and soul goes out to you. My prayers go out to you and your family. We're going to continue to pray that all your children are home and you can start to restore and heal from this. And I know in the mourning process, I would assume with children is like this is lifelong. Nobody should see this. This shouldn't happen to any parent. The fact of their negligence. I hope you have I know you have a lawsuit, first of all, against the state of New York. I would sue the state of New York for this. I would hold everybody accountable, right up to the district attorney's office, the attorney general's office, everyone. I want you guys to know that I am working with a lot of people right now in the state of New York. We had our first meeting for several hours yesterday. I shared privately with our group, but I'm not telling this to the public. Just know, New Yorkers, we're about to kick some major butt. We're about to kick some major butt. We are taking our state back, and we're not going to let this stop until this is over. And I want to know that all the other states in our country will follow suit, just like the Family Court Act in 1962. The Family Court Act in 1962 was signed illegally by Governor Roosevelt. Okay. And it went down to all the other states. Well, we started here, we're going to end it here. And it's been hard work. Let me tell you, anybody that understands this has been very difficult work. But with every win, you have a loss, and then another win, and then another loss, because they are liars. They will manipulate court cases, and they know how to do it because it's their home. Think about that. It's their abusive system. The system is not broken. This is not a broken system. Don't use their language. This was built to do this. This was built to do this. Bottom line, it was built to do this. But we have advocates from big people that are across this country, coast to coast, and we are going. You're going to see major changes, and they're coming. They're coming. We're done with this. I'm totally done with this. I'm totally done with this. I'm done with the abuse to families and children. It has to stop. This one said, "A fall of the wild." That sounds like a classic bait and switch. Getting the parents into an assessment under false pretenses, at the very least, should be an ethics violation. At the very least. At the very least. And Sonny's nodding. Susan Cobb, they have criteria for anyone's child they want. It's an evil. It moved very quickly and it's hard for me to read. It's an evil power trip with lots of money at the end of their kidnapping rainbow. Guys, did you want to say anything else? I'm going to take an intermission between you, and then I'm bringing out a woman. We got everything worked out, Annette, and she will not be showing her face, but she's become a powerful advocate. And she, as a child, was adopted. And in adoption, she's going to talk about the severe abuse that she went through. But right now, I'm going to have Sonny and Albert, if they have anything else they want to say before we go into our intermission.
That's something I'd like to say. Supervised visits are staged. They rate whatever.
Can you talk about that a little bit? That's a very good point, Albert. Go ahead. What does that mean?
Because they say we can't take care of our kids when we bring their food, their clothing, their diapers, their necessities, and they have concerns, but they won't say what the concerns are.
We call that manufacturing probable cause.
Yeah.
Creating false situations.
Yeah, I call that harassment against us when they say to the judge, "Oh, they can't take care of their kids."
So, the one thing that I'd like to say, and this was something that I struggled with the most, and I want people that have suffered losses, parents, through the system. I just want to remind you that nobody can eviscerate you or strip you of your motherhood or your fatherhood. You will always be a parent to your children. And in fact, those who speak up about their stories, not only are you a parent to your own children, but this is really the fight of any parent's life. You are super being a parent, and you're being a parent to all the children out there that benefit from your story being heard. And so I want to thank people, and I want to remind you that they can't ever take away the fact that you're a parent, no matter how hard they try.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you both. And I know Cheryl's behind the scenes kind of for coming out and being so brave and telling your story. And again, let's everybody, if you can remember to keep this family in prayer. They have suffered a tremendous loss and they're still in the midst of this horrific battle. And let's keep this little child in our thoughts, because just to think of that her life means something. Okay, that her life means something, that her life represents the life of countless children, and that this stops, that this doesn't continue. That's why we tell these stories, to inform those of you that are watching, that this has to end. And I want to thank my guests, and I'm going to have Annette will be coming out right after this intermission. Thank you guys for being here.
Hello? One, two, three.